Oh yeah,
I still
we're
love
back.
the squirrels.
That's good. That song is pretty grooving.
I know, and it was like one of those copyright free, royalty free songs when you look it up on YouTube. Then as soon as I put it on, like I think it was like TikTok or Instagram or something, it got flagged for a copyright thing. And I was like, but it said copyright free, royalty free, and it was like, nope. Then it peeled it out, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yep. That's
Yeah,
how they
I
get you.
found that out on a Don Chaco video, and the weirdest part was I was allowed to use the Limp Bizkit song, but not that song.
But not that one.
Yeah. Well, let's stop that from happening. Hold on here. Before we get started. There we go. Yeah, I love that song.
Yeah.
I almost want to like just peel that back out again and like use that as my new like intro when I come out at like wrestling shows. But
yeah.
But I got Nickelback now.
Yeah.
Nickelback is my new thing. And because I was like I was very specific. I was like, I can't have anything too cool. And you can never say that about Nickelback. So, it fit. And it got the party started.
Someone's listening to them though, because they've got like multiple platinum albums.
That's the thing. People hate on them. Don't understand it. There's other. It's like, oh, they're just like power chords and blah 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 and ballads. It's like, yeah. So's every other like rock band for the past like 30 years. Like if
we're gonna
start
hating on a band, I think it should be Oasis. I know people hate Wonderwall, but the rest of their stuff also sucks.
I don't know. I don't know about all the rest of their stuff.
That's said by someone that enjoys the song No Rain.
Okay. I will say, I don't know. I feel like Coldplay deserves a little more hate.
Coldplay deserves way more hate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I have this like weird respect for Coldplay only for one reason. And that is there's a video out there of them playing live in like Argentina. And like they did a South American tour and they did a cover of the song Música Ligera by Soda Stereo, which is a freaking banger. Like this song is so good. And then so when they're playing it, the crowd's going bananas because it's like their favorite song from their childhood being played by their, I wouldn't say their favorite band from today. I would just say the biggest name band that had come there in a while. Because that's more what happens. Like down here, when a band comes that people have like heard of before or recognize, then like in the weeks leading up to it, they all go out and buy every album and like get completely caught up on the thing. So they know every word to the songs, even though they don't know English.
Yeah.
So,
I almost went to a concert like a couple weeks ago. I had the night off, and Alison Krauss was in town.
Okay,
I was like, I could go see Alison Krauss, and then I was like, I'd rather just sit at home and not be here, not be around people.
Well, that's what's getting old. Like for us, like here in Paraguay, it used to be once in a while they would get like the Lollapalooza tour would come through here and they would call it Asensonico. And it was usually like a warm up between shows at different, usually between like Rio and like Buenos Aires or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so you'd usually get like pretty big names that would come through. Like the first time I went to it, like it was like Robert Plant, the Smashing Pumpkins, Fits and the Tantrums, I think Keane was playing. I think there was Alt J. There was a whole bunch of them at the time and then like Skrillex, but I hate Skrillex. But it was like a pretty good lineup from top to bottom, and like tickets were like $20, not even like $18. You could go see all of them, and then like they came back again, and that's when Limp Bizkit was here like last year. But then for some reason this year we didn't get it. We didn't get it again. And so it's like all these bands that I've never heard of with all just like Spanish names. And it's like, yeah, I'm not going to bother.
Yeah.
But like Iron Maiden comes here like all the time, like all the time.
the lead singer or guitar player has his own plane, right? And he like flies them everywhere.
Oh, does he really?
I think I'm correct about that factoid. I don't know.
That sounds like a tragedy waiting to happen. Do you know what I mean?
Oh
Like, it's
yeah,
like, oh, we love the band, but then we lost the whole band because they couldn't cross the Andes. You
it,
know
it
what I
worked.
mean?
It worked really well for Leonard Skinner, though. So
Oh,
should we get into the episode proper?
yeah, I think that'd be a good idea.
This week's episode of Here's What I Don't Get is brought to you in part by the Planeteer database. It's totally not a way to register you and then eventually round you up and murder you, because it's being put together by like patriots that love America, and nothing with the word patriot in it has ever been abused to ruin everyone's fucking life. Like, I don't know, an act called the Patriot Act that was written by Joe Biden that completely ruined the way we air travel and talk to one another and created an intense surveillance state. No. This one's going to be totally okay, guys. And they definitely didn't pay us a bunch of money to shill for it, so that we, because we're honest, true, and we're real patriots. We have Patriot in our Twitter handle, which lets you know that we actually love America. And
I'm
we're
an
not just some
expatriate.
Chilling fuck, yeah. The Planeteer database. It's going to be great. It's whatever.
No refunds.
Hello and welcome back to Here's What I Don't Get, from north to south, east to west, the only intercontinental podcast to tackle all of life's toughest issues and the longest consecutively running podcast on the See You Next Tuesday podcast network. I am your host, Ted Burt, and joining me from coming to you live from the most dangerous city in America, St. Louis, Missouri, and joining me from way down south, it's your favorite uncle, expatriate, and Canaguayo. That's right, it's El Chaco.
Hola, mi enchada. Man, this is what happens when we get this long in between shows.
Yeah.
Like, I was talking to you before, and I was like, man, I gotta edit. Like, I gotta figure out like what stories that are boiling up here
Are relevant.
Like, they're all relevant. They're all my babies.
Yeah.
They're my stories are my babies. But give us an update on what's happening in Tab World, in the most dangerous city in the world. I mean, in the United States.
Just working and traveling and working and traveling. My younger sister was in a show last weekend. I went down to see her. The season is wrapping up in my theater, which I could not be happier about, because as soon as it is actually finished, I get a couple of months to myself. I have to do like projects around, but I am back to having evenings and weekends free as God intended. And yeah, so really looking forward to that. Just gotta make it through one more weekend, and I'll go more into that in my issue. But yeah, we had a tornado here a couple weeks ago. It hit the Glass Studio. The Glass Studio was down for about a week and a half, and it's back up and running. I get to go back there this weekend. I've been working for this other artist out of town. The display that I had.
There's been so many stories that like a tornado ripping through is just like an addendum, like just a little, It's like a little part of your story, but
just a part of it. Yeah. So I've just been, enjoying life, living life, going out and doing things when I have the free time, which has been quite enjoyable.
Awesome. Well, in terms of enjoying things, in our neck of the woods, I've sent you some photos of my new toy, which is, I remember like a long time ago, I had this one friend in university. His name was Bear, because he was a big dude. And he didn't go to university with us. He was just a friend of ours who like somebody met while working on the oil rigs in the regular part of the year. And I remember going to his house. We used to play Risk. You ever play the board game Risk?
Never played it.
Yeah, we used to play Risk a lot. We play Risk, or we play Risk 2210. And I remember we go to his place, and he was the first person I knew who ever owned their own deep fryer. Like, my parents had a deep fryer, but like it got busted out just for making donuts. Like, it was very rare for the deep fryer to come out. And the thing about deep fryers is like it just feels like a waste, right? Because like you're gonna put like you're gonna put a bunch of oil in for the one night or whatever, and then you're gonna have to get rid of it or something, because most people don't have a place to put it. But I learned that you can just keep the oil. And in fact, screw seed oils. I went all out and I went full bore into, I would buy up like sweat, like the fat from the cows.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a wax. It's like the hard stuff. And you melt that down. And it is the best for frying. So I got a deep fryer and we've been frying all the time now. Not like all the time, but it's like we've been able to have like a whole bunch of awesome stuff. Like I made corn dogs for the first time the other night, and they were awesome. Like they were just like, those were awesome. We made our own chicken tenders. I've perfected French fries. I've perfected potato chips. And this is all, we've only had them for like 2 weeks. I've basically I've fired this thing up like at least 5 times now. And it's been a blast. I love it. So that's been on the good side of things. It's been a little bit dramatic in the legal side of things. We got an update. So what was the last thing I updated you with the land case? What was kind of the last bit?
I don't recall what was said live. I think that you were waiting on the appeal to be dismissed.
Yeah. And it was until it wasn't.
Yeah.
Because this is how things go. So there was a deadline that they had to submit their files in to put their thing in, because this whole time they've been their lawyer has been trying to make a case that would cause total chaos in this country as a whole.
Yeah.
Like if she succeeds, which she won't, but if she succeeds, it would undo 2 sales, a construction of a house, and wind it back 18 years. I would then be able to sue the person who sold it to me. I'll be able to sue the government. I'll be able to sue the banks. I'll be able to sue everybody who approved everything along the way. I'll be able to sue the municipality. I'll be able to sue the state. I don't want to do any of that stuff. I just want these people off my land.
Yeah.
But essentially what it is that when somebody dies, you have what's called the succession plan, right? And then so if somebody dies and they own a property, then the succession plan is what tells who has the rights to that property after the fact. And in this case, it was a family, and there were a bunch of signors, I guess. And so they, like, the one guy like promised the guy who's still living on my property, oh, you don't have to sign. You can just stay here and we'll carve off this piece of the land for you. But then they never ended up doing that. And he never ended up signing. And the thing is that he would have gotten notification. Hey, you're a signer in this thing. You have like a year or 2 to protest it. This was in 2007. And
so
after that elapses, you don't have a
yesterday.
Yeah, it was basically yesterday. And so then like in 2022, the thing is sold to me. The guy's still there. I'm told, oh, he's got a private contract that says he's still allowed to stay there. He doesn't. That doesn't exist. I found out about that like way later. So this lawyer of theirs, they had a period of time in our case that they could submit evidence. And one of the things she wanted to put in there was a stupid succession plan. Not like it would change anything. It's just that here's something I learned about the Paraguayan system. You know, you guys can shit on the Brits all you want. Like the Americans love shitting on the Brits. Yeah. But I will say this, the Brits and their legal system and their ability to I don't know, have precedents and I don't know, like a jury.
These are things we have in America too.
Yeah, we don't have those in the Latin system. No. It's just whatever judge gets assigned to you. And because there's no precedent, literally every case, the judge has to go through every single thing and find the law and find the this and find the that. Boom, 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 boom. Every single time. So
do they not write any of this down?
Apparently we don't need to write it down. And so
wow.
In my case, before I won, they put in there was a deadline. You could submit your evidence. And we submitted ours, you know, like the fucking legal title to the land that shows that I'm the legal owner.
Mm-hmm.
I could show the taxes I've paid. I brought in like witnesses to say, yes, he owns it. And they missed the deadline. And you're not supposed, once you miss the deadline to put in evidence, you can't put in new evidence.
Yeah.
Now
That's
they're
what deadlines
stupid.
mean.
Their lawyer missed the deadline. But the evidence she wanted to put in was the succession plan from 2007, which doesn't matter. It wouldn't matter. It wouldn't change anything. And if it did, total effing chaos.
Yeah.
Okay. So they got it to put into the appeals court and they had to put in their argument. They didn't meet that deadline. So my lawyers are like, hey, they didn't meet the deadline. Could you toss this appeal out and can we get on with the show? And because it's a slow ass system, they have to wait for my guy's request to do that. The judge gets that, takes his sweet ass time doing whatever, and then comes back. Comes back like, dude, they got this notification in February. So then he sets a date, which was a deadline for their side to put in their argument, not new evidence, their argument. What is your argument? You have appealed the decision on what grounds? Where do you think we got it wrong? But this lawyer has been trying to submit this stupid succession plan. Like, even when the judge came in person to see the land that we were dealing with, she was trying to hand it like informally, like, please just look at this. And it's like, you can't just do that. Not even here. So get this. So the judge goes, okay, hey, you're right. They missed the deadline for the argument. Right? So now we're going to send out notification to all parties that you missed the deadline and that we're now going to proceed. It's been thrown out. Right? Your appeal is done.
This makes perfect logical sense.
Oh, yeah. Until they make another appeal on that. Saying, no, Your Honor. No, Your Honor. I did submit and I uploaded it to the wrong folder. That's what happened. I uploaded it to the wrong folder. You see, I uploaded it to the original case, but not to the appeal case. And as you can see, I made it within the deadline by 1 day. 1 day. That was in April. So the judge finally gets back to us after all of that and goes, well, I've looked at their rebuttal to my last notification and I'll allow it. Allow what, Your Honor? Allow them to appeal. But your own laws state that you cannot submit new evidence in an appeal process. I know, but you have to rebut to this to say that they can't do that, and then I have to rule on that later. It's a stalling tactic.
Yeah.
It's a stalling tactic that cost me another $400 today to pay for. Now, I had to find all this out because my lawyers, they're competent at lawyering.
Yeah.
What they are not competent at is client relations and letting your client know things they need to do or what's going on or explaining the process. And if you question them on it, they're like, hey, you don't trust us. You don't think we can do our job. I'm like, no, I just want to know what the hell is going on because this whole thing is clown show to me. So anyways, I get around to it. I pay them the thing. I'm like, just rebut this thing, but I just want to get this thing. I'm finally at the point I'm like, screw it. If I'm going to have to go, because I was told after they're going to appeal again, and it's going to go to the Supreme Court of Paraguay, no matter what. Not because they think they can win, not because the judge thinks they can win, but because they have the right to do so. And it just stalls the process more. And if it took this long for the appeals court thing to go through, imagine what it's going to take for the Supreme Court thing to go through as soon as they miss another deadline or something.
Yeah.
And that doesn't count. Anyways. So my
What a pain in the dick.
it's the worst. But there's, I don't know. I'm gonna, dear viewer, dear listener, I'm gonna tell you a nice heartwarming story. Okay, I'm gonna start it off in a nice heartwarming story because you see, Sunday was the beginning of June, and June is not Skittles month. Okay, it's not Skittles month.
Yeah.
It's this month right here. It's the Sacred Heart of Jesus month right here. Okay. And that started on Sunday. Now, we had gone for the Ascension feast on Thursday. We were like, okay, we're not going to get our traditional Latin mass. Let's just go to the common modern Novus Ordo mass down in town. See how that goes. And it was okay. We went to a night thing. They didn't celebrate the Ascension because it's Novus Ordo, but we went anyway. And then we were like, we'll go here again on Sunday because our priests are out of the country for this weekend. And I'm come back and I'm talking to my employee, my guy, and he's like, we're just talking about stuff. And he says to me, he goes, I can't help it. I keep thinking all the time about how it would have been better if we could have found some sort of peaceful solution with these people. If they would have found some way to go. Take the offer, and if there's some way to do it still. Mm-hmm. And from a headache standpoint, yeah. From a budget standpoint, maybe. Because if this is going to keep costing me and I'm still going to have to pay the nose for the eviction.
The thing is that if you go back to trying to do it the nice way, they will continue to try and run the ball down the field and fuck you again.
Well, yes and no. You see, because the old lady, I'm just going to call her the old lady. The old lady. There's an old man, an old lady, the grandparents, and they have their grandchildren there, and their grandchildren have children, so they're like great grandparents that are there, and they're in a bad way, right? And mm-hmm. I never really had a bad time talking to the old lady before, except for like when I tell them like, you can't burn your garbage, please. Like, and they're like, what do you want us to do with it? Take it to a garbage bin. Well, it's so far away. I'm like, well, it's right next to the store that you bought the stuff that made garbage. So you can take it back with you when you go to get new stuff. All right. It's not that hard. Or you can take up my offer and my employee will take the truck and we'll take it once a week for you. Like, we'll just listen to us. So anyways, he says to me, he's like, I just wish there was a way, because she came to us before and she was like, is that offer still on the table? I was like, no, I spent the money that I was going to give you on the legal process to get you off. I'm not made of money. I said this, I did the math and I was like, so I flew my mom out here, not this year, but last year, right? Right mm-hmm. before this whole thing started. And that's before I started having to put all this money down on this stupid case. Like, if not for this case, I might be able to have flown her back again this year. Or maybe flown out a sibling. Or maybe fly one of us up. Something. I would have had the ability because this is just, it's not crushing my budget, but it's something. And so it's painful, but I started thinking about it. I was like, well, look, it's the second court case. It's going to cost me this much more to go to the Supreme Court. And it's going to cost me this much more to evict them and get the tractors and the blue helmets and the blah, 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 blah. And it's going to suck. The whole thing is going to suck. It's going to be a traumatic thing for them. It's going to be a traumatic thing for us. It's going to suck. Do I still have your attention or?
Yeah. Sorry. Yes, you do. It sucks.
Yeah. So he's saying this to me. I'm like, look, if we could find a peaceful deal and they'll leave, I'll still do it. As long as it's not like, they're not going to ask for the moon. I'm like, you know what, man? I don't hate these people. I mean, they suck to live next to, but I don't hate these people. In fact, we've been praying for them as a family right from the get-go. Like every night on our rosary, we're always like, pray for their conversion of heart and maybe their peaceful solution, blah, blah, blah. So Sunday, June 1st, right at the end of my conversation on the Saturday, my guy says to me, hey, by the way, if you're not going to Asuncion, we have a new missionary priest coming in at the chapel right by my house. And it would be an honor to have you and your family come to join us in the community over there. I'm like, yeah, I mean, yeah, actually, that sounds like a good idea. We were going to go down to town anyway. Might as well go to the one in our community. I mean, you know, maybe a bunch of people in the community hate us, but they can't hate us when we're at mass. And so I'm like, all right, well, you know, like I'm not walking there because I don't want to walk in front of these neighbors. So we'll drive there, I guess, even though it's like not that far away. And he's like, oh, you don't have to worry about it. Those people never come to mass. The neighbors, they never come to mass. Like they're done. Mm. They haven't come to mass in forever. So we drive over there and we go to park. We see all the other cars parked. I go to park there, and the and this crazy lady comes out of her house and starts yelling at me. It turns out it's the sister of the old lady who hates us. This is the one that everybody calls her bruja, like the witch. So we're like, fine, all right, we'll move and we'll park on the street. No biggie. Like everybody else gets to park there, but not the Canadians. Fine, whatever. So I go and I sit down, and we're early, and there's not that many chairs. So I'm sitting down and with my family, and then lo and behold, the old lady and her family show up. And I'm like, oh, this is awkward. Okay. But like, she's really old, and everybody's sitting down, and there's no seat for her. So I stand up and I offer her my chair. And everybody is everybody's looking at me, and they're like, no, we can get your more chairs. I'm like, oh, okay. And so they go and they get her a chair, and they sit her right in front of me. And so all right. So then, like, she's right in front of me. Her grandson, who hates me and always gives me the evil eye, he stands behind us for a little bit, and he just goes off to the other side. But she's right in front of me the whole mass. And I don't know if you've known, like, a Catholic mass, they have this part where it's called the Sign of Peace. And they don't have it in Latin mass, but they have it in the Novus Ordo mass. So all of a sudden it hits me like, all right, we're going to have to shake hands at the Sign of Peace. Like, you shake hands with everybody around you and you offer them peace. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I'll do it. Like, I'll do it. I don't want war with this lady. I just want peace. I just want them to peacefully go on. I didn't expect her to be here. Maybe this is providential. Maybe there's a reason she's here. I don't know. So comes to the Sign of Peace. I shake my family's hands, and I'm out of the corner of my eye, I'm like waiting for her to turn around. As soon as she does, I'm like right there. Paz contigo, right? Peace be with you.
Peace with you. Okay.
Yeah. And then, so it comes to right after that is when they give out communion. And now, I don't know how much you know about communion, but it's like, you're not supposed to give it to a non-Catholic, and you're not supposed to give it to a Catholic who's living in a state of sin or mortal sin, right? For example, I don't know, living like with a partner and you're not married, right? Like that's you don't get to. Or if you divorce and you remarry, you're not supposed to, unless Pope
forever.
Francis
I guess forever. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because until the other person is dead, right? Because Jesus is like, look, if you get remarried, you're committing adultery, because whatever God puts together, you can't tear asunder.
Yeah.
Look, Jesus said it. I didn't make the rule, right? So it's right there. And so anyways, so that's the rule. So all of a sudden, like, this priest gives a based homily. He is great. And then it comes to the part of the giving communion, and he walks right down and he gives communion on the tongue to the old lady. Now, here's the thing. I know that old lady is living with this guy. They're not married. They have kids. The old man.
The priest, she's not first in line. He like specifically goes.
He specifically comes down and gives it to her first in her chair. Right. And I'm like, all right, like, not mine to judge, but you shouldn't be giving it to somebody who's living in a state of sin, mortal sin. Right. But so I go and I receive communion. I ended up chatting with the priest afterwards with my family. It goes really well. And then we thank everybody and we go home. And we took a picture with everybody there. Like we're the big community there. We're all there. It was one of my favorite pictures we've taken since we've been here.
You guys took a picture?
No. They asked us to be in the picture, and everybody crowded together in this little tiny ramshackle chapel, and we take this picture. So we go home, and I'm like, I said to my wife, I'm like, that was really nice. And then typical Chaco fashion, I'm like, yeah, it was great. It was really great. I'm a little like, they did that priest know?
Was a message being sent to you specifically.
So here it gets better. So my wife's like, well, we don't know if she gave a confession.
Fair point.
We don't know if she did. I'm like, maybe she did. Maybe she did. That would be great if she did. That would be wonderful if she did, because if she did, that's something we've been praying for her and her family this whole time. So the next day, because I don't make my guy work on Sunday, the next day we get together again, and I'm like, hey, that was really cool. Thank you for inviting me. He's like, oh, he's so happy he came. I was like, that was really cool that she was there too. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, it's a shame that the old man couldn't come. He's like, oh, he couldn't come. But the priest went to their place before the mass. And normally the old retired priest, he would come and he'd be like, well, you're living in sin. I'm going to give you a blessing and you'll be fine. And I'm on my way. I'm not going to tell you how to live. But this priest, he's like, look, you guys want a blessing. This man is sick. I'm going to give, but I'm not going to like give him like last rites or anything like that. I'm not going to give you communion or anything like that unless you have a confession. You are living in sin. However, you're so old. You're not going to be performing the marital act anymore. You're not having sex. So you can probably, and he's like, this lady gave her first confession in over 40 years. That was the first time in 40 years that she received communion right in front of me.
Okay.
I was like, that is so cool, because we've been praying for them. And he got it, she got it. And I'm just saying, man, like there's something lifted. Because we found out through this thing, we're like, who's paying for their lawyers? Who's doing all this stuff? And it was like, well, it's got to be some sort of politician of some sort or something like that. And I asked around, they're like, yeah, it's probably the mayor of Escobar and it's the governor of this other area. And there's some powerful people behind them. And they know they're not going to win. They're just throwing money at it to stall it.
To like be men of the people?
Just to look like they're fighting for these people, I guess. So yesterday, Monday, I get a message from the cousin of my massage therapist, who used to also be my other massage therapist, who isn't a massage therapist anymore. But he's like always been good to me. And he's like, hey, hey, how are you doing? How's your family? I know this sounds weird, but the mayor of Escobar really wants to meet with you and talk to you and see if you guys can find some sort of peaceful solution with the people behind you. And I was like, first of all, I don't live in Escobar. We're not even in their jurisdiction. I don't know that they know that I can't vote for them, nor will I. But yeah, I'm always open for I'm open, but
this is the difference between you and me. I would have no problem destroying them and just sending in bulldozers with them inside the houses.
But I can't. I'll go to jail, right? So no. So I'm like, okay, I said, I will be open to meeting with this person, but not at my home, in a neutral site and with witnesses.
Yeah.
And I want to know what they want to talk about first. Because I want to know what is your involvement? Yeah. What is your involvement? Why are you getting involved?
If you don't live in Escobar, obviously they don't either.
No, because they're literally on my property.
Exactly. Yeah.
But here's the thing. My property is the victim of gerrymandering. It used to be in Escobar, and now it's in Piribui. I'm just like doxing myself, but I am not in the same jurisdiction anymore. I'm not even in the same state because it got moved literally to the other side of my road.
So the other side of your road is a different state from you?
Yes.
That is a mind fuck.
Yeah.
And that comes from someone who lives, 10 minutes from Illinois.
I know. It
Yeah.
used to be the border. There used to be the other road that was made by the river that my property's water flows into. But I'm open to talking to this lady.
That is also a wild thing about, so we have gerrymandering. We gerrymander like within states for districts, but states aren't changing their state lines in the US.
I know.
Canada's not changing the shape of their territories.
I know.
That is so wild.
Now, what's even wilder is when I bought the place, it was in Escobar.
Yeah.
And when the title was finalized, it was in the other state.
Huh.
And so I get it. And the thing is that I want to be a good person in the community.
Yeah.
Like I really want to. Anytime there's some sort of fundraiser, I give. Anytime there's some sort of volunteering of some sort of thing, I send my employee. Anytime, dude, my truck has been used so many times to drive people to the hospital. It's just like I don't want to be the bad guy, but I also don't want to be the golden goose that everybody thinks they can get. Like a vending machine that you can hit and it'll spit out free candy.
Yeah.
Right. So like, I gotta find that happy medium.
You want to live your life in peace. And
what's the reason I
people
moved
on your
here?
Land, creating problems is the opposite of living your life in peace.
And so it turns out that there's a property, a lot. It's like 12 meters by 30 meters, and it's like half the price of the one that I was going to buy for them earlier. And it's on like a property that abuts next to her like niece. And it's like, okay, let's make that work. Right? It'll be cheaper than the tractors and the bulldozers and all that kind of stuff. And
yeah,
I don't have to be like the big bad guy. Like I know that it's unjust, but if we can get it done peacefully, I would much rather do that. I want him gone. Don't get me wrong. There's no peaceful solution of like, oh, you could just stay. Like that's not happening.
Yeah.
That is not at all an option. But that's my situation. So I'm going to keep my issue real short because I was like, okay, I got other stories to tell, but I wanted to get through this one because it was kind of pertinent.
It's fascinating. I do agree that there might be some providence in there working on you in your favor. So fingers crossed again.
I have never gone to a mass in my community before. That's the first time. We normally go. No, dude, my priests are normally every other week, but this time it was 2 weeks in between. So normally we would have gone to Asuncion on Sunday, but this time around the schedule got looped. That's totally providence. Totally providence. I go and I sit down. Everybody is always sitting. This lady shows up. There's no chairs there. They put the chair right in front of me. What are you kidding me? That was so weird. To find out that this lady, they've talked about it all the time. She never comes to church. She never comes. She's too ashamed to go because she's been living in sin the whole time. Never got married to this guy. This guy who's dragging her down. She's the one who came as like, if only Don Joel, would reconsider because like I wanted to accept it. They should have accepted it, but like we didn't know. It's like, yeah, you did. But like their IQ is like 75. Like, what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
They're the epitome of, but I did eat breakfast this morning. Right? Like they are the meme.
Yeah.
But then I got to thinking even more. I was like, you know what I should do? Last time I was like, I sent my lawyers in. I got these local lawyers specifically because they speak Guarani. I could have gotten high-powered, kick their ass lawyers from Asuncion that like you know, like I used to rent from one. One of the guys was like a top lawyer in the country. I didn't hire him because I was like, no, I want to look like I'm just hiring like somebody local to do this thing. They're competent, but like it didn't work. It didn't work. And I got to thinking, and I got the phone number of this priest, this missionary priest who came from the first time he come to this area, and he lives in the town that I'm now a part of voting wise. And I reached out to him. I was like, you know what, man? Like, I'd like to tell you my side. And he's like, turns out he stayed and had dinner at my employee's house that whole night, heard the whole story. And I was like, here's what I'm thinking. I want to talk to him and see if he can be a mediator for us to sit down and talk some sense into both sides. No politicians, no lawyers, no nothing. Let's just sit down. Let's hash this out. Right? Because like this is the priest who you gave a confession to that gave you their first communion in 40 years. I'm coming at you with total charity in my heart. Let's work this out. I can't let you stay here. I can't. That's a forever thing. And that's a level of robbery because I know that you think you own it, but I can't do that. It'd be a sin against justice. I can't do that. But what I can do is I can help you get that property over there. I can use my truck to help you get all your stuff over there. I got extra building materials around here. I can give you everything that I have that's extra. I can help you wire up for, like, I can give you my extra electrical boxes. I won't need 2 here. And we'll get you set up. And then you won't be living next to me and burning garbage next to me. And we could be at
burn
peace.
Garbage on your own land.
You can burn garbage over there. Just not next to me. Your niece probably burns garbage too. So yeah, that's my update on that. I know it was a long one. I'm so sorry. It took like 40 minutes to tell that darn story.
But also I think this is a good pivot into my issue this week, which is
that's why I thought I was gonna be able to tell it shorter, but I never told a good short story. But that's why I said to you, you should do yours first, and I'll keep mine super short. So I promise.
Here's what I don't get. Face. That's it. That's the whole issue. Let's get into the news. No, so this is something that I've struggled with for the last probably 15 years or more. And I've kind of talked about it indirectly on the show, but I don't think I've ever expressly said this. I have struggled with for many years the thought that I'm a bad person. And I have even referred to myself on this show as a bad person. I've talked about myself as a bad person. So when Chaco's talking about, trying to find the good in people and trying to like do the right thing, even though he's been, shafted time and time again by the legal system and by like what's going on, like in my mind, I want to Marvin Heemeyer the shit out of their little hovel and just let the cards fall where they may. That's what my instinct is, because in my mind I'm a bad person. But I've come to terms with this. This is the question. What is better? A good man that thinks he's a good man, or a man that thinks he's a bad man and questions that and tries to be better?
Well, it's funny you should mention that because it's a topic covered extensively throughout the Bible, especially in the New Testament.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the parable of the Pharisee and the tax collector?
I think I've heard that phrase before. Yeah.
But have you heard the parable?
Probably not.
So Jesus tells them, I'll quickly give you the summation of it. So basically it's where there's a Pharisee who comes in to the temple to pray. And he's like, look at that tax collector over there. You know, like that poor sinner of a man over there. He's just awful. Whereas I'm a good man. I give, I fast, I donate, I do all these good things in the thing. I am better than that man over there. And meanwhile, then you go to the tax collector and he's like, forgive me, Lord, I am a sinner. I'm a tax collector. I'm the worst of the worst. But if you'll just please accept my prayer, please, and then Jesus says that it was a tax collector who walks away saved because God hates a prideful man.
Yeah.
Like pride is one of the things that is something that takes us all down. I mean, it's the first thing that took Lucifer down. Right. And so I see where you're coming from, because if you listen to like St. Paul and you listen to all these St. Peter, all of them are like St. Peter is like, don't even look at me, Lord. I'm a sinful man. You don't even like, I don't deserve you or this. And so there's something wholesome in accepting that you're a sinner and a bad person, but then I think where the
Trying to do good
stopgap
works.
Well, it's not even just about good works. It's like you as the work.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not a good person. I need to be better. How do I become better? What do I need to do or change about myself to be better? And knowing that even after you've done all those things and are technically better, you're still a piece of shit.
Absolutely agreed. So in my self-reflection over the last, so 8 years ago I joined this show, and I'm a radically different person than I was 8 years ago. And I'm also very fortunate in that I narrated my life's events for 8 years and put them out on the internet, where now I get to listen back to myself. And like I was listening to an episode. I don't remember what number it is, but I brought in risk aversion as an issue. And I'm basically like talking to myself into the microphone, into the ether, into the listeners, and talking about I'm going to stop being so risk averse and start like putting myself out there and trying things. And what it took a while. It took a while, but that was me. I'm listening to this now today myself, 6-7 years later, and I'm like, oh, that's where my life came from. The life that I have now, it came from this like moment in time, and I built that. I built that based on this, and like I'm so fortunate that this record exists of what I've said and done, if only for my own self-reflection. But in my self-reflection, I have, not with a biblical sense of whether or not I'm a good person, come to determine that I do think that I'm a good person. I'm a good person who questions that, which is better to me than a person who's just like, I'm a great man. And
I know you're a good person, man. Like, I mean, I've seen it in you,
well,
though.
no, that gets to my point. What I think I was judging goodness and badness in was about how you're reflected upon by society and what society believes is a good person versus what an actual good person is. And the fact of the matter is, I am not a good person in society. The person that just fits in and does what he's told. I was sent a meme earlier today that I was just like, yeah, this sums you up. It was oh my God. No, there it is. I bring a sort of but how come energy that parents, teachers, pastors, second lieutenants, and bosses have never been very appreciative of. I don't mind doing things your way if you explain to me why that every single authority figure I've met in my life has been fuming to death and back about. And that is true. Like I question authority, I ask questions, and what it comes down to is I don't fucking care what you think about me.
Mm-hmm.
With a caveat there. In general, I do not fucking care what you think about me.
Mm-hmm.
You like me, you hate me, I don't give a shit. There are a very, very small handful of people whose opinions matter to me. Chaco's one, Tim is one. I have a lot of very close friends. And what what I've kind of come to this realization over the last few months of thinking about this is it's all face, right? It's all face. We're all trying to save face and build face and create this character, create this persona that is acceptable. And I don't do that. I do really value the respect and love of people that I also respect and love. My friends, my family, the listener to this show, I respect and I consider what opinions they have about me because those are people that matter. The random guy on the street, don't really give a shit. Now, I'm not going to be impolite to him. I'm not just walking out my front door just like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, you're cool. You know, there we all play in a certain level of face there, right? There's a level of face in, you know, you go to a restaurant and you're kind to the server until they don't fucking listen and get your order right, and then maybe you get a little terse, right? and that's okay. And what I've kind of started to see, and I've like seen this in your saga down there with like, because you live in a society that's very much about face, and
oh yeah,
I kind of didn't think about it, but the theater world, the society that I have chosen to live in,
100%.
is very much about face, and
Yep.
It kind of took getting into the glass blowing world to really for that thing to tick over in my mind, because there's this like sabotage of others and backstabbing and conniving in
totally.
theater that I have
It was
not.
in stand-up comedy. It's in wrestling. It's all in the performance arts, especially when it comes to people wanting to get the spotlight. You know?
Yeah, and be famous and be good. And I not saying that it doesn't exist in glass blowing. I'm sure it does. I'm sure I'm just so naive and new to the craft. But the people that I have met in this community have all been so kind and gracious and sharing, because it's not about appearing like you are good at what you do, because the work behind you shows that you are good at what you do.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, your work, there's stuff there, and theater doesn't have stuff. We don't have stuff that we can point to and go like, oh yeah, I'm a great fucking sound designer. Did you just see my production of Fiddler on the Roof? Fucking killed it. You know? And the more that I've come to this kind of thing that I'm sure lots of people are like, duh, welcome to the party, pal. The more it frustrates me that so much of our lives are dedicated to trying to win the opinions of people that do not give a fuck about us. So I kind of glanced over the tornado. Tornado hit St. Louis. It hit my work. It plowed through St. Louis. It hit the glass studio. It hit North St. Louis. $1.6 billion in damage. 38 people injured, 5 dead. And this was an EF3, which is in the scale of tornadoes
Pretty bad.
Not such a big deal.
No, what does it go up to? It's like an EF3 can take out a barn, can it?
5.
Okay.
So the way that I 3 is houses are damaged and branches, trees are down.
Right.
2 is branches are down. 1 is your lawn furniture is knocked over.
Right.
2 is branches are down. 3 is trees are down and houses are damaged. 4 houses are gone.
Right.
And 5 is a 1 foot deep trench cutting through the land, and there is nothing fucking surving. So
you know that
bad.
from Tulsa.
From living in Oklahoma. 3s are bad, but they're like the middle of the scale. It's like the start of it being bad. And so it hits Friday night, and it's wild because like it hit my life. But I was home. I was here in my home, and I was starting to get ready for Third Friday, and the skies got dark. The wind picked up, and I was like, well, this is kind of weird. But I'm gonna hop in the shower because I have to be at the studio in a couple hours, in like an hour and a half. So I'm gonna hit the showered. I get out of the shower and I've got these texts that are like, "Hey, are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then I'm starting to see what's actually happening in North St.
The news.
Louis,
Yeah.
5 miles away. And then I'm getting stuff, and it's like Third Friday's canceled. Show at your theater's canceled tonight. And then I'm getting pictures of they didn't send pictures of Glass Studio. They sent pictures of every building around it, and it was bad. So I sent an email to the operations manager of the Glass Studio, and I was like, "Hey, I know you're underwater with a lot of stuff. Anything I can do, just let me know." And so she emails back, and she's like, "Thank you. Oh, it's overwhelming. We don't know what we're going to do. I think we're going to get here tomorrow and clean up." And I was like, "Great, I'll be there." Wake up Saturday morning and to an email from her. She's like, "Do you have any coolers?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got a cooler. I got some coolers at work. I'll grab them. I'm headed over."
Mhm.
Get over there about 8 a.m. There was a solar farm on top of the hot shop to offset the cost of electricity. That shit's gone. HVAC on top of the building was picked up and ripped off.
Wow.
Holes pouring water through. Shingles from the houses nearby were flung through the gallery windows into the gallery. And so we just, you just do what you do. You just start sweeping shit. I
Mhm.
started putting away tables and chairs from the event that was supposed to be the night before. I just started working. That's what you do. That's what I didn't have the time to emotionally process how bad it was. All I could do was start working, which is the only thing that I know how to do. So I started working, and I get this, and I know this seems like it's going nowhere, but it is going somewhere.
No.
I'm in the middle of cleaning up, my second home in St. Louis, and I get a phone call from my boss. We're going to go ahead and cancel all of the shows for the rest of this weekend. We canceled last night, of course. We're canceling the rest of the shows because the theater's fine, but there's no access to parking. There's no access to this. Buildings around us have power out, so we're just going to cancel. And I'm like, okay, great. But we're gonna give them the Friday, Saturday, Sunday of the fourth of the weekend after they would have closed. And I was like, okay, great. But we don't have to do that per the contract we have signed with them. A force majeure, act of God, weather related incident. We're not required to book them more time.
Mhm.
And can we even staff this?
Because everyone's
We'll figure that out. They're only going to get Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I'm like, great, because they're going to ask you for Wednesday and Thursday, and we can't staff this. And I'm in the middle of trying to do something. Let's get off the phone. We're going to give them these 3 days. Of course, immediately they ask for Wednesday and Thursday. They're denied Wednesday and Thursday, so they throw a hissy fit. So they're given Thursday. So now
same group.
I've talked about it many times before. Instead of 15 shows, they're doing 16 shows. So as I will remind you, thousands of buildings damaged, $1.6 billion in damage, 38 injured, 5 dead. But they got an extra show out of it because their fourth weekend is going to be benefit shows. And a portion of their fourth weekend's proceeds are going to go to tornado relief efforts. This is a month after it's happened. So I'm pissed. I was not told about the Thursday. I heard about the Thursday through hearsay until I was finally sent an official email about it, which I replied to very snippily. But it's all about face.
Mm-hmm.
Their fourth weekend currently, the theater, they sell 568 tickets per show. You can do the napkin math. 4 shows is what? 2,240, 260 something tickets. They are currently sitting at a grand total for 4 days of 15 people. 15 tickets sold. $750 in revenue. Boy, that's really going to make a fucking difference in the tornado relief efforts, isn't it?
Here's the funny thing. The whole time you're building up to this story, I'm thinking to myself, okay, I got a good little add-on to chip in here to compliment you, the person, right? You, the person, what I've seen in your development, all these kind of things. But that changed about 4 or 5 times throughout the course of it. It's like what I'm going to say. And now I'm going to say it. One of the things that you were calling out on yourself is not wrong, and it doesn't make you a bad person. And that is, you like the truth.
I do.
And the thing is that's one of our bonds, is we're both truthful people. Now, how we express the truth, or what we believe is quote unquote our truth, I hate that word, but that way of putting it, but is different at times. But it's not coming from a place of malice. Okay? You just describe the, getting snippy at a bad waitress that is not doing a good job at the service, right? Now, both of us would process that like, hey, you can't just let this go because she'll be bad at it for everybody and she'll probably lose her job. That's how I think, right? So how do I couch this in a way that will get the message across while also not letting the injustice of terrible service take place at my expense, like my neighbors, right? But what you just described is one of my biggest beefs too with what you're talking about. And that is false humility, going the extra mile for things, and just empty platitudes, over the top gestures. And I hate that. I hate it so much. I don't like people being lied to. Do you know what I mean? And in that case, because you said it yourself, there's force majeure. The truth is there was no obligation. Yeah. You owed them nothing. And they were ungrateful pricks the entire time. Because they kind of are.
They are ungrateful pricks. And what pisses me off most about it was that it was framed to me in the phone call in that we need to cultivate goodwill with them.
No, but you don't.
And
because they'll come back.
It doesn't come back. And that was what like truly triggered me, to quote the left, is that so how much goodwill do I need to cultivate at this point? Like I have bent over backwards. I have loaded in their shows for them. I have done so much to one of their line designers won an award for work that I did. At what point are they required to cultivate my goodwill? I've been here for 3 years. Yep. I've done, I don't know, 8, 9, something in that number of shows for them. I have done so much. And my feelings don't matter. They don't have to earn face with me, but they get to earn face with the community by pretending that they're going to chip into tornado relief efforts. Where were you on Saturday morning?
Right.
Honest. Yeah. And not to say,
I their empty platitude
with tornado relief efforts. I went to the place that I love to help out. That's it.
Virtue signaling.
I didn't go into fucking the north side neighborhoods and help with people's homes and shit. I don't fucking care about them, and I don't feel bad about being honest about that because I'm not cultivating face. No. I'm an honest person. I will.
Okay, cultivating face. It's virtue signaling. You're talking about virtue signaling.
A professor in college told me this once, and fucking summed me up at the best I think anyone has ever summed me up. And he said to me, "Your problem is that you feel that being anything less than 100% your authentic self is lying to people." And I was like, yeah. And he's like, you don't have to feel that way. And I was like, I don't know how I wouldn't feel that way. And it's like, yeah, I didn't go fucking dig out people's homes, and I went and cleaned a place that I cared about. But you're gonna throw 10% of $750 at nothing, if anything at all. I don't need to cultivate their goodwill. They need to be cultivating my goodwill, because my goodwill is the only goodwill that matters, because I'm the master of this building. And I'm tired of pretending that what they make matters. You know, there was this scroll. I think I've maybe said this before. There used to be this scroll that, you know, is written on every board at my college. Let's make theater that matters. And I didn't know what that meant when I was 24 years old in college. I didn't like understand what that meant. I'm starting to understand what that means now. They don't make theater that matters. They just make theater for self-aggrandizement and to have this face to show that they are great and wonderful. And I'm fucking tired of it. The reason why I don't cultivate face in my life is because I'm the person that asks the pointed questions in staff meetings, because the face that matters to me are not the strangers. It's not even like the people that I work with on a daily basis. It's like the people whose lives actually impact mine and that I care about and care about me. I care about what Chaco thinks about me as a person. That's an actual thing that motivates the decisions that I make. A question that I ask myself on an almost daily basis is, what kind of man do you want to be? The only face that matters is the face that looks back in the mirror every morning. Okay. And can I look that man in the face and be proud of who I am when I walk out of this house? Most people, I think, don't do that.
Well, okay. There's another level to that. Okay. You started by saying that you believed that you were a bad person at a time. Like that's what your default setting, your default thought on it was. And there's nothing wrong in thinking that. I'm not saying you're a bad person. I'm just saying that as a default position is probably healthy if taken healthily. Okay. Like it's a protection against pride. It's a form of humility.
Yeah.
It's a form of humility. But I'm going to go one step further, because in our hierarchy, like, okay, when I look at my hierarchy of where I point my charity, where I point my love, where I point my willing of good intention, my willing of good results to people or to things, it goes God first, me second, my wife third, my kids fourth, the rest of my family fifth, and I count in that same center circle my close friends. After that's my neighbors, as we call them, conocidos, like people I know. And then you got down below that, it's like enemies and people who are not even close to my life. You've seen the heat map.
It's the heat map. It's the heat map.
Right. But coming back to it is like the solution for me when I'm trying to work on my actions is I'm not looking in the mirror to say, what do I think about myself? Because I know what I think about myself.
Yeah.
It took me a long time, but I know what I think about myself. You know, you get that told, and I get like, I've had it. So it's like, you know, well, he's not an asshole. He's just Joel. Like you're not wrong. You're just an asshole.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, I'm not being an asshole. I'm just telling you what you need to hear sometimes. But I'm also wrong sometimes. So,
but
like,
you're willing to admit when you're wrong. You're willing to say.
You have to, because otherwise
you're not cultivating face.
You are anywhere.
But you're cultivating like a real. You're not. You are cultivating face. I'm cultivating face. By doing this issue, I'm cultivating face. But the thing is, it's a reality and not a facade. You're not building. You're cultivating. You're growing.
I am building something.
You're growing. You're growing a seed of who you are, not building a shell of what you're not.
What I try to do is I try to see me when I'm in those moments, not how you see me or how some stranger sees me, but I try to see me the way God sees me. Like, what am I doing? What is his aspirations for me? What does he expect out of me? What did he make me for? What kind of person did he make me? Right? Like, am I the kind of, like, the type of person, he says you can't serve two masters. You can't serve God and money. Right? And there's people out there, like, you see enough videos. It doesn't need to be a large amount of money. It could be that belligerent person walking into a KFC behind the counter saying, and just taking the chicken and walking out. Right? I've seen enough videos of that. I'm not going to play the the match game here, but like I've seen enough of it.
Yeah.
And it's even on a lower scale. It's a I don't care, give me my thing, and it's living a lie because it's a sin against justice. I can't give them I can't let them live on my property because it would be a sin against justice. Because what it means is that justice would die at my hands.
Yeah.
Because I would have stopped the fight that I need to continue until they're gone. The reason I started the fight is because of an injustice. So I have to continue it. But how I do that, I have to look at through his eyes. Okay? Am I going to lie to get my way? Am I going to bribe somebody to get my way? Am I going to bulldoze without permission? I'm going to do any of those things. How am I going to live with myself after? Like, I know people who, like, I knew guys when I worked with or something like that, or like guys I went to school with who visited prostitutes. Not all the time, but occasionally. And that was like a thing. Like they just played it off like it was no big deal.
Yeah.
Right. And for a lot of, I bet there's probably a listener out there who has visited a prostitute. I'm not judging you. I'm judging me. I made a point early on. I had times where I was at a party where it's like, hey, there's a prostitute. You can, and I just know, like there was like I was at some house, there was a frat party, and then there was like another one, like there was opportunity. There was opportunity. And I turned it down every time. A, because it's gross, but B, because I'm going to have a wife someday. I'm going to have kids someday. And I want to look at them and know that I am the man that never visited a prostitute and I never did this and I never did that. But at the same time, you can make those rules, but there's other rules you've broken along the way. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
And you're always a work in progress.
Yeah.
So there's things that you might be ashamed of. And sometimes shame is a good thing.
Shame is a great thing. Shame
is a great thing, right? Because shame works. So you work on these things with yourself, but it's who you're accountable to. And I applaud you when you're saying, like, you got to be accountable to yourself. But when you're saying, like, I wouldn't have done it that way, it's like, dude, 10 years ago, I wouldn't have done it this way either. But the reason why I do it this way is I'm like, look, I want to, when I die, not even when I die, now, I want to see it where because I know you brought up Palantir.
Yeah.
Right. And there's this whole thing about Palantir. Like Palantir is named after that orb in the Lord of the Rings, right? That saw everything.
Yeah.
And
a gateway to evil.
Well, it's a surveying thing, but at the same time, that's in the wrong hands. But I know that that's also a false thing because they could cover the Palantir and not be seen, right? It was only when they gave in to their curiosity that like Pippin touched the thing and gave away their location and gave away their everything. But there is an all-seeing eye of God that sees you at all times. And so I always think of it this way, like, dude, I got surveillance cameras all over the place, but like, there's no time where it's like, like there's little times where you're by yourself and you're like, I could get away with this thing and nobody will know.
Yeah.
But I'll know and he'll know. And so I just decide I can't live with myself doing that. I can't. And that's why when I see, like certain fallen from grace personalities that may or may not have at one point in time had a moniker on this show, lying to themselves, lying in person. You're like, man, you're just going to lie and you're going to keep presenting lies and lies upon lies. It's like, I don't know how you live with yourself. But in their eyes, they're saving face because they would rather they're lying than admit that they're wrong, admit that they're lying. They'll just keep going. And that's just a difference. I can't do that. I cannot do that.
I'm not the kind of person that does that. And
the only time I can do it is during poker. I like playing poker.
Yeah, I
love playing poker. But I
play poker very chaotically, and that
that's the way to play it.
Yeah, so Tim Truckin' and Tuckin and I have played multiple times, and we've played with multiple groups of people, and I think Truckin' and Tuckin has figured it out my chaotic system, but most people haven't. And I remember we were playing once, and someone was like, I can't tell if he's bluffing, and Truckin' Tuckin goes, you'll never be able to tell. He's psychotic. He will not play. He will not bet on a sure hand, and then he will fucking bluff his way through nothing. And I'm like, yes, that is the fun of the game to me.
See,
I want to wrap this issue up
sure.
with two. So Android has this really fun feature. It lets you put some text at the bottom of your lock screen, and I've had the same text at the bottom of my lock screen for a little over a year now. It's two contradictory statements. So the second statement is trust the forest, which is my way of telling myself that it's my way of fixing my self-loathing, because I trust and respect my friends, and they trust and respect me, and they reassure me that I'm a good person that does good things. And I think I can't see that because I'm in the forest and they're not. So I'm just going to trust that the forest of my life is a good one. And so then above that is another quote. I don't remember what the article was that I read, but it was about basically, to sum it up, it's just like, I'm a very large person. I'm a very large person that people are inherently going to look up to. So be that person. And so the other phrase there is be a giant. So it says right there at the bottom of my phone, it's not going to focus.
I like that. Yeah, I can see it.
It says be a giant and then trust the forest. Like, be this big person, but also trust that you're doing the right thing, because also I trust my people in my life to be like, Tab, you're really fucking up here. Well, and I would say, oh, people in my life are telling me I'm fucking up. I should probably like reassess what's going on.
You and I, when we first started doing more shows together, it took a bit of time.
That it did.
It took a bit of time to get into the groove, and a part of that was because you and I are both similar in terms of being opinionated and also wanting to not restrict and say lies.
Yeah.
Right. You know, and I think you and I had an interesting thing about this. Like, so like I ran into this recently. I had a friend of mine who I was playing music for, and it just wasn't his thing. Like he found like one of the songs he liked, and then the rest of it he didn't like. But there's a difference between saying, somebody told me this. I give credit to the person, but like they're not my friend anymore. But this is a nugget of wisdom they gave me, which was that she had taught her children that it's not okay to tell somebody that something that they like, that it sucks. Okay. Now you can say that I didn't like it, but to tell somebody that likes something that it sucks, it hits on a deeper level. Like there's a difference between honesty and cruelty. And so there's a difference between, hey, I appreciate that you like it. It's not my jam. It's not my thing. But like, now is that lying? Is that saving face? Or is it just being, I don't know, like charitable, right? Like, because what do you gain from telling them it sucks? Now you can tell them it sucks for like political reasons or something. You'd be like, that person's like a pedo or something like that, right? Yeah. Like that's like a little different.
Revealing more truth as opposed to just your actual,
but an opinion isn't truth. And I know that a lot of people think that way. I'm like, no, it's just objectively shit. And it's like, to you it is, but not to everybody, right? Like, because like we brought up Nickelback.
Yeah.
Clearly they sold records. Clearly they sold tickets to shows. Clearly they're still touring. They still have success.
There's an audience somewhere.
So everybody who says that they suck, it's like, to you.
I don't even know if I believe that the people, because I'm sure there's some Nickelback song that comes on and they're like, this is a banger.
It's saving face because it's a safe thing to say. I remember because I used to hang out with hipsters in university, I used to write music reviews. And I remember I was around these people and I was talking to these people and we bring up something and it was always like talking about music you like. Have you heard this? Have you heard that? Have you heard this? Have you heard that? And there was this one gal that was like, oh yeah, that sucks. Oh yeah, this one sucks. I only like this one. I don't like this one. And I'm a music lover. I'm like, and I called her out. I'm like, no, you're not. You're a music hater. You hated 70% of the things that people just talked to you about. For what? So you can feel like better than everybody that you don't like things?
Yeah.
That's you're just playing it safe because you don't want to be the person that likes somebody that somebody else told sucks.
Yeah.
And so you're playing defense by being an asshole.
The opposite of that is I talked about this on the show years ago, and in my personal life, I'm pro breast cancer, right? Because every corporation on the planet is like, oh, we're donating money to breast cancer research and awareness. And Susan G. Komen is a huge scam, by the way.
We can't stand
They do fuck all for actual cancer research. They just raise money and put on fundraisers. And it annoys me because it's a totally safe stance. Not one person is going to come out in the world and be like, actually, I think breast cancer is great. And I hope more women get it because I hate breasts, you know? And so I decided that I was going to be pro breast cancer, but it was a parody on the idea of a safe pro opinion,
right?
You know, and we're in June, the Sacred Heart of Jesus month, but for a long time that was a time to be proud of a specific
candy called Skittles.
No, I was going to say, what is it? It's a specific deadly sin.
Yes, it's the first
was anointed into the month of Jesus' Sacred Heart, which seems kind of fucking weird to me. I don't know.
There's more to it, man. Like
I'm sure there is, but you know, every corporation on the planet, they would change their Twitter icon to a rainbow one as a joke. Here's what I don't get. Twitter one would change to the super straight, the black and orange, which is also coincidentally Tim and I's high school colors. But
nice.
Because it's like, well, as long as we're gonna have pride, we're gonna have super straight pride. But now this year, suddenly that like vehemence, that's not the right word. Enthusiasm.
There's less of it. Yeah, the MLB's doing it.
Holy shit, dude. I don't follow sports on Twitter, and my feed was inundated with sports teams posting rainbow versions of their logos. And it was like, why is this being served to me?
And the thing is like, these people don't go to your games. They don't care about it. They only care when it's their night. And even then they don't care. So
in any case, we're way off the rail.
No. But it's saving face, right?
Yeah, it is saving face. To try and like serve a community that doesn't actually support your stuff. That's why Hollywood is all shit now.
Vapid. Yeah.
That's why I don't want to be anything other than the authentic, real person that I am. And I know that is like a rough around the edges person. And I know that rubs a lot of people the wrong way. And I know it takes a lot of explaining to people how I work, which is difficult when you're trying to like cultivate relationships outside of friendships that were kind of like forced upon you.
Right.
Which is a lot of my friends, you know, we were forced upon each other. Tim and I were in high school together. Yes, Truckin' and Tuckin' and I were in high school together.
Right.
Many of my friends are friends because we worked together, and you just had to make it work. And I appreciate that they saw past the rough exterior and all of the things, and they've allowed me to like be here and grow. But I'm not going to stop being the person that I'm not going to stop being the person that I want to be. And the person that I want to be is truthful, is just honest about what's happening and just wants to fix the problem. And if you don't like that person on your team, if you don't want to like respect that person for being right and you don't want to like acquiesce to that, that's fine. But that person is going to stop fucking showing up when you need another set of hands, because it's not my fucking job. And I'm tired of doing other people's jobs for them. And I'm tired of being a thorn in the side of the people above me when I remind them that I don't have to do their jobs for them.
It's yeah. And the other thing is like there's the opposite too, where too much of the saving face makes you into a pincushion, like just like a punching bag for everybody. But no, it's a good issue, man, and I'm glad you brought it in because it was timely.
And I'm gonna just say this right now. Tab brought in the extremely long, like socially conscientious issue this episode.
Watch how quick I can blast through mine afterwards. It'll be awesome. I'm gonna get through it as quickly as possible.
Everyone's gonna be like, "Well, Tab really brought in an asshole issue this week," and then Chaco
no, but it was my fault for the 40-minute ramble of an old lady getting communion for the first time in 40 years. But I felt that it needed to be said. So.
No, it was good. It was a good timely deal. But yeah, that brings us to the middle of our episode, which means it's time for FaceTime News, the only news that you can get through only iPhones, no Androids. Video chat with your people on news for no fucking reason. Your phone's pointed at the ceiling most of your conversation. I guess I'll leave that up. Let's go back and forth. You have 2 and I have 2, right?
Yeah. You want to go first, or?
Yeah, I'll swing through first. This one comes to us from Sweden. I would very much like to move near Sweden. In Zurich, a Swiss What?
Sorry, it's just a beautiful country. I love Sweden.
Oh, yeah. A Swiss politician was fined for buying a pink water pistol online because authorities say the toys violate the country's weapons laws. Newspaper Aargauer Zeitung on Friday reported that Mark Jasili, a member of the local council of Bucks, a town west of Zurich, ordered the water pistols in August through an ultra-low-cost online retailer, Temu, for his godchildren as a gift. Prosecutors ordered him to pay a fine of 6,500 francs or $7,300 for a violation of weapons law, arguing that it applied even though the pistols were imitations because they could be confused for real firearms due to their appearance despite the pink color. Aargauer Zeitung reported that Jasili said he had not been aware of the violation, but accepted the penalty and paid the fine, probably because he's a cuck. And now the picture of the guns won't show up, but it's essentially like a 357 Magnum, but it's bright pink. Bright pink.
Man, so I got some Swiss friends down here. They go to our church, and I thought we had horror stories like leaving Canada, but theirs take the cake. Theirs was really bad, like really bad. Because they didn't get the jab, we didn't get the jab. Just the way that their church was treated, the way that but the rights that people didn't have during the things, and anybody who protested anything, there's no such thing. It's just brutal. But a pink gun, gosh. That being said, though,
$7,400.
Those would sell because it would be hilarious if you could get a 357 Magnum, but it was hot pink.
Oh yeah. No,
that would sell like crazy.
Taurus has I don't remember what gun they have. Pink guns for women for the sake. Of
I know, but women. For a man, how humiliating! You just got you just got shot. 357 Magnum.
My pink, I would be in the house, I shoot the guy who's broke into my house, and then I take a picture with the gun and the guy and be like, I just shot this guy with my pink 357.
Even just a total jerk on the street, like mugger, who's extra humiliation when it's a guy and a girl on their date. And he's robbing you. Give me your wallet. And it's what that? Oh, God. It's 10 times worse when I have to give it to a guy with a pink gun. That's ridiculous.
Did you shoot 5 shots or 6? You gotta ask yourself one question: do I feel lucky? Do you, punk? And he's got this pink fucking gun.
Do I feel cute? Do you?
Do I feel pretty and witty and gay?
As he puts on the lipstick.
You betcha.
UK court finds men who stole a $6 million gold toilet guilty. It turns out that a porcelain throne can also be made of gold. Apparently, didn't Trump have a gold toilet, or is that just a
I was thinking MC Hammer. I know. I wasn't thinking Trump at all.
I mean, that's investment. I mean, it's, you know, you can melt it down, I guess. Like if you
Hammer
knew,
Time, Hammer Time came on my ride home today, and I was like, I was really grooving to it on the bike, and yeah, I was just like, then you mentioned this, and I was like, I think MC Hammer had a golden toilet.
maybe he did. Maybe he did. And I think I brought up on the show, like MC Hammer was one of the greatest concerts I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
So at least that was the vision behind Italian artist Maurizio Catalan's artwork titled America. Oh, you're
America's a golden toilet.
created in 2016. Oh, I wonder. Okay. The installation featured a fully functional toilet cast in 18-karat gold. It was initially displayed at the Solomon Guggenheim Museum in New York City and later at the Blenheim Palace in the United Kingdom, where it was stolen in 2019. This week, 2 of the people involved in the theft were convicted in a UK court. The original heist took place on September 14th, 2019, when a group of thieves used sledgehammers and crowbars to remove the toilet from the floor of Oxfordshire's historic Blenheim Palace. Dude, you melt that down.
There's a wrench.
It's a $6 million thing. Like most art is worthless. It's just money laundering. But it's actual gold.
If anyone wants to money launder glass art, by the way, I'm open to it.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, this one's like real gold. Why were they using I'm sure was it not a bolt-in like
just to remove it quickly? Maybe
toilet?
I don't know.
Impact gun. They make like 20-volt and then carry that bitch out.
Yeah, well, that's the reason why that thing got stolen. Yeah, which was insured for a value of $6 million. You know, it's funny about the $6 million. The $6 million man. That's where I'm going. The $6 million man. Back in the day, that was like an astronomical amount of money for that television show. That's Steve why Austin. It was $6 million. Dude, $1 million's a lot, you know. But so they found that and they ran off with it. The story doesn't get any better. What's your next one?
I've got one here from Australia, right? A woman was bitten by a dog and had her claim for $4,862 in damages dismissed. Ying Shen had been heading towards the lobby of her apartment complex to wish the building's concierge a happy holidays on the night of Christmas Eve 2022 when she was bitten by a leashed mini Australian shepherd. She had exited an elevator at the same time the neighbor Jeffrey Dale Paulo had returned from a walk with his daughter's dog. Paulo was waiting by the elevator doors to return to his apartment as Shen exited, and as the two passed each other, the dog bit Shen on her hand. He apologized and said the dog was usually well behaved, according to the decision. Shen said she experienced an intense growing pain after the bite and had taken an Uber to St. Paul's Hospital emergency room where she received treatment for a superficial abrasion and a tetanus shot. After she fought... Oh, sorry, this is from Canada. I saw Australian Shepherd and thought it was an Australian story. After Shen filed an incident report with the city of Vancouver, a bylaw enforcement officer investigated the incident and decided that Juliet was not an aggressive dog. The officer did when judging the dog bites in incidents such as this one, NIHUS explained the decision that an animal's owner is liable for damages caused by their animal if they knew or should have known. It generally subscribes to the notion that if the dog has not bitten before, the owner cannot know that it has it within them to be dangerous, and thus, written in the decision, every dog is entitled to one bite in Canada. Juliet, given the dog was unlicensed, NIHUS noted that it was unlikely the dog would have bitten before, as it would have been aroused the attention of an investigating bylaw officer who have noticed that the dog was unlicensed and ordered them to license the dog much sooner. So if you're in Canada, your dogs can bite one person.
Just one.
Make
it a count. Make it count.
Make it
make it some defenseless Chinese lady when you're getting off the elevator or whatever.
That took way too long to get the punchline that was in the head.
All right. You probably already heard about this. This is probably big news, I'm sure.
Yeah.
A truck rollover releases 14 million bees onto a Washington road. A tractor trailer crash on a Washington road set an estimated 14 million bees loose near the Canadian border, causing the roadway to be closed for 24 hours. The Whatcom County Sheriff's Office said the truck was carrying more than 70,000 pounds of honeybee hives when it rolled over Friday on Wild Kent Road. And okay, blah, 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 blah. The crash caused what was initially reported to be 250 million bees, but was later amended to be closer to 14 million bees to swarm around the roadway. That's a lot
That's a big
faster.
jump from 250,000 bees. Now suddenly we're
No,
talking
no,
about
no, no, no,
14
no.
million bees.
It went down from 250 million bees to closer to 14
Oh,
million.
I must have been mistaken this with a
No,
different story.
no. When revisions happen, they usually go down, or
okay.
yeah, sorry, or they go up by millions. But the roadway was closed for about 24 hours to allow the bees to return to their hives and locate their queens. And the goal is to save as many bees as possible. So there's a podcaster or a watch, and I won't say who it is.
Hold on, you cut out. There's a podcaster. What?
There's a podcaster that I follow. He's not on YouTube. He's been banned for a long time. But he keeps bees. He's a beekeeper himself. And he was explaining this story earlier. So apparently what they'll do is they'll actually ship massive amounts of bees from like Florida to like different parts of the country to help with the pollination process. So a lot of times they'll actually go all the way across the country to like go do like almonds in like California and stuff like that.
Cool.
It is kind of cool, but at the same time, it's like kind of lousy that like whatever they're spraying over there, they can't actually have their own bees, that they have to bring bees all over now. And now that there's 14, now, yeah, they're probably going to go back to their queen, and crazily enough, they'll be able to find their own, but like getting all those back together again, like that's a mess. That's a crappy mess to deal with. 14 million bees. I've got like 2 sets of hives on my place, and I would not want to spill those over and have to gather that back up again and get that. That's a nightmare waiting to happen. So
I know a person who is an apiary and, tends for all of my, I don't know how many hives they have, not like a ton, but raising their own honey and whatnot. And like, I think that's like I would like to, if I own land, if I wasn't like in the middle of hellscape St. Louis with no space, like I'd put up some bees,
dude,
some wildflowers and shit.
Our
honey.
Our honey is the greatest honey I've ever had in my entire life. Like, I'm not even like a big honey guy, and it's like once we got these in, it's like
they're wild because like bees recognize that like you have given them a home, and they will put honey away for you.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah. And like the other thing is that like it goes the other way, because now I want to put specific types of flowers nearer to where they are, and I want to make sure that they have water to get to and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
I was in the hot shop the other day, last week, and a bee landed on me, and I like just kind of scooped it off and then set him down on so the hot shop is like a steel building, and it has garage doors on either side, so we get like airflow in. So I set him down on one of the thresholds of the garage, and the bee was not moving. And I was like, oh, I bet this bee is a thirsty bee. And so I just like went to my water bottle and like, fingered my straw and dropped some water by him, and then went back to work next time I got time free, I went back and the bee is gone. And I was like, all right, good. Bee.
Nice.
The bee got back out to doing his job. So we're all good.
Well, and not getting off on a total pollinator rant, but like, I got these, so outside my office, we put, cause it was getting so hot, cause in the late afternoon till the sun goes down, like the sun gets just directly into my office. So we put like a roof, and then I got this vine stuff that we grew up, and it's actually called like the Malavicino. It's like the bad neighbor, and it crawls up, and it's got beautiful flowers that hang down. And we put like chain link fence up, and it crawled all the way up. It goes all the way over the roof of my office now, and it hangs down these flowers. And I got beyond, like, my honeybees don't come that far. They're way over by the orange trees, but we get these big, stupid, like slow, loud bees that come through, and they're like fat, and they're like this big, man. They're like big. They're like, and it's just, and it's slow, and they're cool to watch because I now that it's like this time of year, I can like have my windows open and like kind of look outside and get some fresh air. But the thing I got now, hummingbirds. And I love it, man. It's so cool. I got these hummingbirds that come. I see them all day, and I get like multiple ones. I get ones that come and fight. I get ones that like,
oh, they're super territorial. Yeah.
yeah. And I got this one vine that hangs across, and it's like just this kind of like it what hangs across, and the hummingbird will come on it, and it'll just start swinging back and forth on this thing, and it'll stay there for like 20 minutes. And it's the best. It's like I've got this whole I got the apiary over there, and I got an aviary over here. It's fantastic. So all right, aside. So what
Here's
that,
why I don't
that
get loves
covers our
animals
news.
and bees and stuff. That's all the news I got.
That's all I got too. So
All right, cool. Well, this has been FaceTime News. Be sure to point your phone at the ceiling while you talk to your friend for no fucking reason about whatever news is going on in their lives that you don't actually care. And for some reason, you want to be able to look at their face every once in a while. Quick break.
yeah.
All right. We're going to, for the live streamers, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
I'm gonna throw on the where is it? I'm gonna throw on the where are you?
He's throwing something out.
Look at
I'll go to the
that.
bathroom.
All right. There we go.
Did you just hit play on that?
Yeah, just as I came in, I saw you there.
Oh, sorry about. I got an email in the middle of that I was like trying to your story at the beginning of the show, and I was listening to you, but I was trying to like frantically reply to that.
That's okay. I understand. I was like, oh crap, am I being that boring?
No, I got distracted by stupid shit that is shouldn't enter into my personal time, but
That's how they are.
Yeah.
Should we pitch the Patreons and
Yeah, I will transition this as if we never even took a break, and the listeners at home will never even know.
Wait. Listeners at home, are we caught up on the audio ones?
I have to do some editing. I'm going to try and do that tomorrow and
You're the
get
best.
this one and the other two uploaded because I am way behind.
I'm sorry. I wish I could help more. I'll get to it in my issue.
Well, that takes care of our news segment for the week, but you know what it doesn't take care of? Supporting the show. And if you want to support the show, you can visit us at patreon.com/HWIDG, which stands for
I think it stands for here's what I don't get.
which is the name of the show. And over there, we have 2 tiers. We have a $1 tier for just general support. Say, hey, we like what you're doing. Keep doing the show. Appreciate it. And we appreciate you for supporting the show. Then we have our $5 tier where you say, hey, well, I really like what you're doing. We really appreciate it. And we would like some more content when you can do it. And we will do it. And we'll do in some bonus content of here's what I do get. We talk about what we do get instead of what we don't get, which is a little bit more happy and upbeat than what the show is currently, or what the regular no,
The format itself does.
the show is always going to be very negative. It's a change from what the regular episodes are. So if you want to support the show in either one of those tiers, we really appreciate it. We appreciate all of our patrons over the years who have supported the show and kept it going. We're coming into year 9. We're what 5 months away from our 9th anniversary.
Wow.
Which is kind of mind blowing that the show has been going for this long. It's
Well, I'll credit as credit's due. I mean, you kept it going. Yeah, like I didn't do a full year the first time, but what are we at now that I've been back on?
It's like 2. We're in 2+ years of you being back. Yeah. Because it would have been like
2022.
July, August of 2022 was your first episode back.
Yeah.
353, 301.
I've far outdone my original run.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's a
By a
lot
long
easier when we're not doing it every week.
Yeah.
It is. The show is a lot easier. It has sucked, I will say. For the last April and May, we've only gotten like 3 episodes in 2 months, and it's just been like a scheduling nightmare with my work, and you had family in town and all these other things, and like trying to get the editing done. But it's summertime for me, which means that hopefully we'll be back to some pretty regular stuff, and then it'll just be the little hiccups of getting back into season, and like end of season in theater is always just like, all right, we want to do our dance recital, and we got to do we got our last show of the season, and we have our next little thing, and we want to do this little benefit concert deal. And you're just like, can we just get to June so that I could just have my summer off, because I don't go do summer stock shows because I make enough money to not have to go slave myself out for the summer. Small gripe, but that is the thing that really bothers me, is that like theater has the season. It has a season that's like August-ish until May-ish. And then there's summer stock where you go work for way less fucking money, way more hours, and you produce these shows for, summertime people to come like, we're going to do Shakespeare in the Park. Like, great. I got paid $600 to do this Shakespeare in the Park. It took 5 weeks of my life, and normally I would get paid way more for that, but we're out of season, so it's totally okay.
Well, one of these out of season times when you get ahead of the game at some point in time, you should check your passport, see if it's up to date, and
there has been a Spite producer request for me to get a passport, and I filled out all the paperwork, and I still have not turned it in. And I have it literally sitting on my desk. I need to go get a picture taken, and I need to take it to the place and pay the $200, whatever it costs. But yeah, summer 2026. I'm going to Paraguay.
You know what you got to do is you got to come down here in either your spring or your fall.
Yeah.
If you can make that work, your spring or your fall. Because your summer, you come down here, it'll be freaking cold, and you'll feel like you missed your summer.
No, right? It'll be great because I live in St. Louis, where it's fucking miserable in the summer.
I know, but it's cold here. It's like camping.
It'll be,
what I mean, like
vacation.
It'll be like,
I'll pack up, dude. You know how much I love jackets. This is small do get.
My van doesn't even have a heater.
I love jackets. Here's
what I do get. Jackets.
I love the wintertime because I don't have cool jackets anymore because I got too skinny to wear any of them. But I had all these great coats, and I would like wear them, and people would be like, "That's a great coat." And I'm like, "Yeah." And now it's summertime, and I can't fucking. It's been weird. It's been a really weirdly mild summer here. So Memorial Day was last weekend. Yeah. And I was wearing my jacket out on my friend's back patio while he was smoking a pork butt. And I was like, I'm fucking freezing, dude. We should not be freezing. It's Memorial Day weekend. So
yeah,
I would love to get more jacket mileage out of coming down there in the.
All right,
in
find it on the cusp, because I still want you to have a good, beautiful weather day here, and go into my like pool, because my pool is like, it's like the fountain of youth over there.
Oh
right?
yeah.
Not
It'll turn my
enough
hair
yet.
back being brown.
Yeah, exactly. So I should probably jump into my issue before we get to the 3 hour mark. So here's what I don't get. Modern aging. What I mean by that is, man, like you see all those, like, you ever feel like lesser when you see those like old dudes who can still work out at the gym, or like run a marathon, or
Yeah.
like go to school and get a law degree or something like that. And it's like, dang, man, that's badass. And yet here I am, and like all of my life and all of my by the way, I'm prefacing this is old man Chaco rant time. I haven't done enough of these, but
Welcome to Old Man Shouts at Cloud.
Ouch, old man shouts at cloud. But
The new
Man.
new podcast.
I get teased all the time about the CPAP. I got sciatica. I have to use a foam roller all the time. And I call it modern aging because, like, there's all these like new injuries that are just straight up from sitting in a computer chair too long.
Yeah.
And it's like, I spent way too much time futzing around. I've got a sit stand desk. You can maybe hear it.
We can you can't hear it, but on the video, his microphone.
You can see my
is moving
mic
up and
going up
down.
and
Yeah.
down, right? Right.
Yeah,
So
I got one of those at
stand.
work too.
I got a sit stand desk. I don't use it enough because I don't remember to, because I
Yeah.
get in a groove. I've got a Herman Miller Aeron chair. It's like one of the classic,
Super expensive, super
stupid.
ergonomic.
I spent a lot of money on this chair.
Yeah.
I brought this from Canada. I can't get this down here, right? Like, it's like, I remember when I didn't have it, because I was waiting on my boat to come in with all my stuff from Canada, and I needed this chair. I was in
What were you
agony.
using before that?
I rented a chair from a place, and it was like, it looked like an office chair, but it had not.
You can rent office chairs in Paraguay.
Yeah, you can rent it. Like, there's like rent a furniture place. There's places you can rent.
I never knew that. That's
Yeah, actually, it was when I was doing that I found out that, like, my tax number was still in their system, and I owed like a shit ton of
from 2014.
in Paraguay. Yeah, from before. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I didn't shut my tax number down, and every single month I was gone, I owed $50 that I didn't report.
Not awful, but that does add up over because
I was gone for 7 years.
7 years. Yeah.
Yeah, that hurt.
Yeah.
that one wasn't fun. But I mean, it's fine. We're good. Like, I paid it off, and and my wife the
You're
same.
in
My wife.
Oh,
the
your
same.
wife also had one?
Yeah. So both of us had to do that. Yeah. Not fun. Got it done. Figured it out. But I found out because I tried to rent the place. They looked into my like credit history, and that came up on my account. And so I was like, oh, I guess I gotta get that sorted.
I thought you were going to be like one of those bentwood cafe chairs, just hard back, hard sole, hard seat.
No, originally for the first few days until I got the rental one, that's all I had. I had a chair that was at our dining room table.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and that's the thing, right? Like, it's like the older I get, it's like all these extra stupid little pad-on crappy little things just to feel remotely comfortable, which I'm never comfortable. It's like, I got my friends like, you got to lift more weights to do this thing. I'm like, dude, I got a gym. Every time I go in there, I go in there and I work on a thing. I'm going to try to do a new routine. I try to get into it, and I'm always fucking injured. I'm always injured. Like, my knees give out all the time, But I played sports. I played sports to a high level. And I remember when I was younger, I'd get injured and then I'd get better.
Yeah.
But now you get injured and it's like that.
Brian
That's how
Regan-
your year went, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
Brian Ringen has a great joke where he's like, I went to the doctor and it's like, my knee hurts. And he's just like, okay.
yeah.
Like,
That's your thing
I
now.
guess forever.
Yeah, you're gonna do this stretch every morning.
Yeah.
But like it's other things. It's like I'm wearing these, right? Because I thought it would be, like
Super fashionable.
not at all. No, I got these on because these are total blue light blocking, and I want to go to sleep when I go inside. Because every time that I come in here and I do the show, I go back in, and it takes me a while to wind down. And like, I gotta go in there, and my wife's already asleep, and like, yeah, I could read my Kindle or whatever, but that's not gonna get me to sleep right away. Like that's gonna make it worse.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like these things that like were fine all through my 20s, all through my 30s. And now that I'm in my 40s, and I remember I used to laugh at the whole middle age thing.
Yeah.
Right. Like the whole middle age thing. I'm past middle age because I'm 45 turning 46. I don't think I'm making it to 90. I just don't think that's I'm past the middle. Right. Like I'm past the middle mark. I'm on the back nine. And it's just these stupid nagging injuries and aging. And it's like, dude, I went to my doctor about this and I was like, hey, what do I do about this? Like, what do I do about like this? That's this right here.
The wall.
The little gullet underneath. I'm like, because it's not like fat. Like, what is this? And he's like, oh yeah, when you get older. Okay, so I was bringing up about my CPAP, and I was like, I'm waking up with a really dry mouth because my mouth opens, and in the middle of my sleep, like, and he's like, oh yeah, when you get older, your jaw muscles and everything start to just kind of weaken, and relax more. And I'm like, what are you telling me, doc? Like, what is this? And he's like, yeah, that's just your thing. I'm like, can I like chew gum or anything? He's like, no, not really. I'm like, and that's why you see all these like loser celebrities getting like facelifts and stuff, is because this is normal. This is the thing they don't tell you about. But then the other thing is like, maybe it's like this all the time. Because it's not like fat under here. I can feel the muscle under here. And there's muscle under there from all of this. Looking down at my fucking phone all the time. Like, you've seen these people that are like the next generation are going to have these like
weird
like
hunchback
a spike in the back of their head from all the looking down, like a little horn on the back of their head from all the looking down. And, or just even like my arm was like, I was dealing with something. And my wife's like, is that your like phone looking at arm? And I was like, yeah. She's like, maybe you should look at your phone less. I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? I'm going to read. I'm going to injure myself with a book. Like I can't read a book that's too heavy. Like, and it's like, what is going on?
You need some of those glasses where they like, there's the prism reflection.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean,
so
look
you can
at this.
lay
Like,
flat in bed.
These are around the corners. I'm trapping all that blue light out. But yeah,
No.
I know you're the ones that go over other glasses.
Yeah, so that you can like just have your book on your chest, but you're looking straight ahead, so you can lay flat in bed and still read your book.
That's the thing, right? Like, so like my kids will like take over the couch and the TV. We got one TV.
Yeah, as you should.
You should. We got one TV. Yeah. So they're taking over the TV. So if I come in and I've got to like, I'm going to rest for a bit. Cause like, dude, I work like my ass off at this stupid desk all day. Like I get up and I'm in here maybe at like 8, 9, sometimes 10. Sometimes I take my time, but I don't go. I'm in here all the way until like 6:37. You've been in here when I've been talking to you. I got shit that comes in at like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
So it's like all of a sudden I'm aging so quickly in these parts of my body, whereas other parts of my body, I'm super healthy. Like, like they always warn you all the time. Like, oh, you're going to worry about your blood pressure. My blood pressure is tickety tock. It's perfectly fine. Yeah. Right. Like I have perfectly fine. My dental health, fantastic. I got the laser eye surgery when I turned 30. I'm now starting to trombone a bit with my, with my just a little bit of that, But I'm like, is that because I've been looking at screens all the time? Like I got 3 screens in front of me at all times here. So is this all there is? Like, I gotta walk more. I gotta go do more. But I'm like, I gotta get rid of these people that are always looking at me when I'm out because I got all this field. I could be. I bought. I think I mentioned this on a previous show. I bought like disc golf equipment,
Mm-hmm.
and like I look at my field and I'm like, I could make a really cool like disc golf course like on my field, but I don't want to throw my thing into their yard and have to deal with them right now. That's just that's and by their yard I mean my yard that they're occupying.
Yes.
Right. And so I know I got to do more. I know I do, but every time I try, I'm like doing the wrong thing. You know what I mean? It's like, oh no, you gotta do it this way. You gotta do it that way. And everybody's an expert about things. And then, but like on the aging side too, it's like what I say modern aging. It's like all these things that we were told were good for you, but are actually bad for you. Like, for example, putting on sunscreen, right? Like sunscreen is probably not good for you either. You know, like fluoride in your water, fluoride in your toothpaste. That's good for your teeth. No, it's not. I haven't used fluoride toothpaste in 7 years, right? Like, and my teeth are fantastic. How about this? Arch support on your shoes.
I was actually gonna point out insoles.
Yeah.
Like there is such a push for it, and it's one of those things, right, where you don't need them, but then you use them, and then you need them,
Right.
and
like
and
the
then you
shoes you
can't
buy,
get out of the system.
well, the shoes you buy too, like, so I started trying those like minimalist shoes, which like they're at work. Like they take a little bit of work to get used to, because they have like no support, and they got like a big toe box so you can spread your toes out. And
Yeah.
but the thing is like you realize like your whole life you've been walking wrong because you're slamming your heel down. Because if you look at the bottom of your shoe right now, the heel on the bottom of the shoe has been evolved. Oh, you're wearing your motorcycle bike.
I'm wearing brand new shoes, so yeah, these look like they're brand new.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, it's like
there's no wear on these at all. What are you talking about?
Not at all, literally.
Your point is disproven. Choco is wrong.
But it's like you find out about all these things. Like, dude, I remember they're like, okay, you don't want to take aspirin too much for pain for headaches. You don't want to take acetaminophen, and then it's like, oh, the best one is ibuprofen. Apparently, that one's fucking
also
poison.
rots away your liver. Yeah.
Yeah, and I got all these gut problems because of taking years and years and years of ibuprofen, and like just to deal with the pain of getting through a day, just to get through with it.
Yeah,
this is totally my old man rancid cloud thing, but I'm laying it out there. This is modern aging shit problems that I shouldn't have. Go ahead.
I don't think this is not a you problem, but I also think a big part of modern aging is that I think that there was a stoicism in earlier generations where they were like kind of unwilling to admit that they like had fucked up shit. And I remember my mom told me this story about my grandfather for years where he basically refused to start wearing glasses to the point where he would read the newspaper in the mornings. He would put the newspaper on the kitchen table, and very traditional family setup. My grandmother would cook everyone breakfast. They'd all gather around the table, and he would stand at the kitchen table and read the newspaper sitting on the kitchen table while he drank his coffee and ate, because he basically refused to get glasses. My dad did the same thing. He refused to go get reading glasses, even though he like couldn't read fine print up close, because he had spent years reading like extremely fine print on circuit board diagrams, extremely fine print.
Oh, so this is an insult to him to not be able to read it anymore.
It is, yeah, and like it just refused. And so one year for Christmas is like as a goof, I got him some like 0.75 reading glasses, and he put them on. He was like, "Oh, these really do work." So last year, I went through this panic, right, where I was trying to read and I couldn't get my eyes to focus on what I was reading. And I think part of it was that I was reading on screens, not books. But
Hmm.
I went to an eye doctor because I thought there was like a big problem. I thought it was a big problem. And I went in and I was like, yeah, I'm having problems like getting my eyes to focus on things. And then he like puts me through all the tests and puts me on all the deals and like, and he gives me this like little card, it's like little note card thing, and it's got this like sentence written 7 times, whatever. And he's like, can you read the smallest print on there? I'm like, yeah, no problem. Blah 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 blah. And he's like, okay, cool. And then he like shines some shit into my face. And then he like goes in his little box and pulls out some lenses and puts in that mutant glasses thing they put
Yeah.
on you where it like adjusts to your head. But
Yeah.
it's like the same plain deals. And he's like, he puts that shit on me and he's like, look, we both know you can read the smallest print on this, but how does it feel now? And he hands it back to me with the big
it's
mutant
way
glasses
better.
thing on my head. And I was like, oh shit. All of this stress that I was not aware was physically in my eyeballs is now gone.
Yeah.
Instantly gone.
But then it's like, is that an insole thing? Because like, if I get that, you have to think about these things.
Well, no, what I decided was I'm not going to lay into the hubris of my father and grandfather.
Yeah.
That's the way to go. And he's like, you're just getting older. You're the lens in your eye is getting less flexible and you're not able to account. And he said, you're naturally farsighted, which I knew from a decade or more ago. You're naturally farsighted, and it's just your coping mechanisms aren't working anymore. The lens is not as flexible as it used to be, and your eyes just don't focus the way they did. So I'm going to give you a prescription. Give me like a super duper low prescription. Just wear them when you want to. If it's just when you're working on your computer, if it's when you're reading, if you want to wear them all the time, whatever you want to do, just wear them. Come back in a couple of years. If it's gotten worse, we'll figure something else out. And I was like, perfect. I'm not gonna lean in. And so I wear my reading glasses when I'm working on my computer like an old man. And some days I just get like fucking tired. Like I'm just fucking tired from working shit and I want to read. And I'm just like, oh, this is way better.
Yeah.
So some of it might just be like an awareness of like, we got to take care of ourselves better somewhat.
Well, and it's funny because like, I call it modern aging because I've brought it up before. I believe diet has a lot to do with
so much,
a lot of stuff.
There's so much trash in our food now.
I brought up the fryer because I'm telling you, once we switch to beef tallow, because everything's beef tallow, all I'm doing is beef tallow. You have a plate of fries, like if you make a plate of fries, you're sharing those fries. Like, unlike when you go to like a bar or when you go to a restaurant and you get like you get fries with your meal, and then like inevitably you'll get a little bit of a stomach ache after or some sort of reminder that maybe I shouldn't have had those fries. Doesn't happen with the beef tallow. It just doesn't happen with the beef tallow. It's like, man, those seed oils really they're that bad. Like they're that bad.
I 100% agree with my weight loss and my change in diet. And like part of it 100% is the fact that like there's 90 pounds less of downforce on most of my joints.
Oh, that's going to be a big deal. Yeah.
That's a big contributor, but also like the food that I eat is better now. Like most of my meals are home cooked and vegetables, protein, low carb, no sugar. I have more energy in the day than I had 2 years ago. My body doesn't hurt in the places that it did because like I try to eat better, like to the point where I can't eat McDonald's anymore. I used to eat McDonald's all the time. Early in this show, before this show, I ate McDonald's a lot because it was open late, it was cheap, it was quick.
What was your go-to?
McDouble, 2 McDoubles plain, a large fries, and a large Dr. Pepper with no ice.
Wow.
That was my meal, which was
I love that
diabetes incarnate. Yeah.
The quarter pounder was because I was all about the pickles. There's
always pickles. Ugh.
Oh, I love a good hot pickle on a fast food burger. But
and now I ate McDonald's. I don't remember when the last time I ate McDonald's was. It was probably like more than a year ago. I got McDonald's. I was like, I'm hungry. I'm on my way to work or something. I just need something quick and easy. And I got a McDouble and a small fries and a Diet Coke or a Coke Zero. I don't remember which, but a much less scaled back calorie version of what I used to eat before. And I ate it and I got to wherever I was going and I felt like I was going to vomit. I was like,
It was that bad.
I think I'm very sick. And I was
Well-
like, and the only thing I can explain this is that I ate McDonald's today and I have not had, and I just can't eat it anymore. I don't know what's in it.
Well, that's the big point, is not knowing what's in it. So like, I made burgers on Sunday, but they weren't just any burger. We had just bought an electric meat grinder because our second pig is about to be knocked, in about a couple of weeks. So I'm like,
Yeah.
like we filled our freezer last time, but like I think we're gonna grind some meat this time. Like a lot more meat is gonna be ground. We still had some ground pork from before, from when my wife made Swedish meatballs earlier in the year. We had it in the freezer, but we have we have the Muscovy ducks, and we have so many Muscovy ducks that we have duck once or twice a week. And so my wife and I, she ground up this duck breast on these things, but it's like Muscovy meat duck
Into
is
burgers.
like, I made Daffy Porky burgers. So I mixed the pork meat and the duck meat, and then get this. Then I made my own French fries. I double fried them. So what I did is I blanched them. I basically blanched them for like 5 minutes, took them out, let them cool for like 15 minutes, and then I put them back in.
Yeah, that's the way I make my fries too.
They're so good.
So much better. You
So
get that,
much
like,
better.
Crispy outside and the soft inside.
In the beef tallow. And then, because I was feeling cheeky, on my grill, they were almost done on the burgers. We were getting close. I just took my ladle, grabbed some of that beef tallow out of the deep fryer, and I poured it onto the burgers to give it that beefy, umami on top of it. They were the best burgers I ever had. They were just incredible.
Do you just do salt on your fries?
Yeah.
All right. Pro tip: Italian seasoning.
Okay.
Salt and Italian seasoning.
Italian seasoning.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer also in the salt and vinegar. I like white vinegar on my fries.
I don't like the taste of vinegar. That's why I don't like pickles.
Fair enough.
I always
like
do
some vinegar.
I always do seasoned fries. I always do salt and Italian seasoning.
Hey?
And I'll like shake the salt right after they come out of the fryer.
Might have to
Shake
try
the
it.
salt on them, mix them up. Shake.
I started making my own potato chips. So you just like taking the potato and just slicing, just like very
super
thin.
My goodness, mandolin slicer. So you can just...
I ordered one. It's on its way from Amazon. Because I tried to find one here, but everything here is like the cheapest, breakiest. Yeah. So I got that on the way.
Welcome to Two Old Men Talk About Food.
Oh, you're still here? You're still here at 2 hours and 13 minutes in? I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, no, on terms of the aging thing, yeah, it's funny, man. Like the other thing with the old people is the noise. I'm way more noise sensitive now.
Oh, I've been noise sensitive my whole life. What I was going to say was that afflictions now hit modern aging. Afflictions now hit people younger than they ever did. My grandfather was, healthy as a horse. He got colon cancer in his late 60s or early 70s. He beat it. And then the chemo ended up killing it. Like, that was what killed him. It wasn't the cancer, right? And now, like, people get cancer way young. We have all these like permanent afflictions of things. Yeah. And how much of that
has
is medicine?
Nothing to do with the spike that just came in from the last few years. Like, nothing to do with.
Oh no, of course not. I mean, it's totally safe and effective. It's, and I don't know. There's a question, like, to be the total skeptic on this, to be like, well, now medicine's better when we catch things earlier, but also like,
we're just unhealthier because we're not going outside.
Our whole life way more unhealthy because, we used to live in a world where and for you and me, this metric is completely out of whack because it's like the question is, how many meals do you eat that are cooked at home a week? And how many meals do you eat that are fast, something that's microwave, something that is prepackaged, something that you buy from a restaurant or a store? And does that make a difference in like your health
Probably.
as a person? I
Probably.
don't know. I don't know.
I don't know, because I've seen that one guy who only ate Big Macs for his whole life, and the guy's like thin. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I think genetics plays a lot into it, but at the same time, yeah, most of my meals are eaten at home. Most of
Yeah.
my meals are cooked very well. Like my wife's awesome. But when we go on the road, when we go out of town, we have to eat out every time.
Yeah.
We come back and feel like garbage.
Yeah.
Like we just feel like garbage. And it's like, like everything is going to be cooked in seed oil. Like even if you got a steak or an egg or something, it's going to be cooked in some crappy oil.
Yeah.
And there's no avoiding it, like unless you cook yourself while you're out there, and that's not going to happen. So,
or you get meals that are cooked by my mom, which are terrible.
So anyways, that's my old man thing. I kind of overpromised. I said I was going to keep it short. It's short enough.
It was shorter than mine. Yeah.
Short enough. Short enough. This is a long episode, and we haven't even gotten to the.
But it was all catch up.
I'm going to close this one up. This was
a great issue.
Yep. Thanks.
This has been Here's What I Don't Get. Until next time, I'm Tad Burt.
I'm El Chago.
And we will see you all next time.
Ciao, ciao.
If you want to call in the Here's What Get hotline, call us at 704-750-9434 and tell us what you don't get. Or you can leave us a voicemail in the Discord under voicemail upload. Or you can email me a random MP3 and hope that it makes it through to the show. There's lots of ways to do it. You can also just like post it in a schizophrenic rant like Ted Kaczynski, like a modern Ted Kaczynski on the internet and hope that we play it. We've got 2 voicemails this week. Here's one.
Yeah, here's what I don't get is fucking websites where things just don't work at certain hours. So basically I've been trying to do things on certain websites, I'll explain later, that after normal working hours, 9 to 5, it's just like, oh, sorry, that shit doesn't work. So the first one is Chase Banking. I'm trying to do a credit transfer to transfer a balance to a lower interest credit card. Like trying to do that like on a Friday when I get off of work at 6 p.m. And it's like, oh shit, sorry, that doesn't work. I'm sure probably on Monday if I try that during business hours, it will work. But the one thing I didn't expect to fucking not work is the Lego fucking website. I just opened a fucking, $100 plus Lego set and I've assembled something similar and I'm like, wow, that's kind of weird. There's no sticker set. Anyways, fast forward, I get to a step where it's like, oh wow, apply a sticker. Oh shit, don't got it. Go to the Lego site. They have the super awesome feature of like, hey, you're missing a part. Don't worry, we'll fix that. All right, yeah, put in the request, yada yada. Oh wow, something less than awesome just happened. Please try again later. Yeah, I guess I'll go fuck myself and I'll take time out of my day during the work day to fucking, yeah. And this is, again, in context, this is on a Sunday at like 6, almost 7 p.m. And it's like, what is it about these websites and again, completely, vastly different things. I'm missing something from a Lego versus and I guess the banking system only operates Monday through Friday during
There's no
normal operating hours, but it's just infuriating and I don't fucking get it.
There's no banking on getting a replacement Lego part. There's no banking. They send them to you for free because they feel bad. One of these that drives the shit out of me is B&H Video. B&H Video is a website where you can buy video equipment, lighting equipment, sound equipment. It's an industry, my industry website, right? You can buy a lot of stuff. And I buy a lot of stuff through B&H because they have an industry discount if you are like part of the proper people. B&H is closed from Friday at sunset until Saturday at sunset.
Oh, okay. I know what's going on.
And even though and so you just can't place an order. And it's infuriating
Well, because that would break the Sabbath.
Yeah. It's infuriating because, like, obviously I am not observing the Sabbath by me trying to place this order. You don't have to break the Sabbath because you're not packing it until Monday. I know you're not packing it until Monday. I know you're not shipping it until Monday. I don't care.
They don't want you to sin. They don't want
What
you
I
to.
would really like is to be able to put all this shit in my cart and hit hit order and put in my credit card information and then walk away. But I can't do that because there's a fucking error message on their website that it's just like, if you put anything in your cart today, we're not letting you check out. And I'm just
I mean, it's ballsy.
I understand it and I respect it.
That's what they would call chutzpah.
But
yeah, but money though.
You don't have to do it. You could let me click the checkout button and just let it because like my credit card is not processing until Monday. It just doesn't process. I could place 500 million orders of whatever I want on Saturday, and Monday morning it'll be like, oh shit, you spent way too much money. But yeah, that one drives me nuts.
We got another one.
Well, one more.
I think I misspoke on my last voicemail when I said it's like 100+ Lego piece set. I meant to say 1,000. Makes more sense. Anyways, just wanted to correct that.
Oh, fuck Lego. That's all I got to say.
I've been in fuck Lego mode for a very long time. I'll just buy them used because generally there's somebody somewhere that has like a giant like trunk of them that that their kids outgrew, and it's like that's what you want. I don't want to give them money now when they're like doing all the pride crap and all that kind of stuff. No.
I just buy on Amazon. I used to like buy straight through Lego all the time because I got rewards points, and then they changed how rewards points.
Yeah,
work.
I've heard this.
Now,
yeah, they screwed you.
Now it's just like on Amazon. It's already discounted, and then a lot of times I have some offer for some fucking Amazon discount. And I'm just like, sure, fuck it, why not?
Oh man. Well, yeah, when it comes to like websites not working, like I don't know. Occasionally down here I wasn't able to do like a transfer, but like with my bank, but yeah, that was just the bank fucking up. It wasn't to do with hours or anything like that. But I have to use Yahoo Finance for my work all the time. That's all where all my stock screeners are. That's where I get all the that's like an industry standard. If I put a link to a press release from there, it'll be trustworthy to like the syndicators when I send out there. And that site breaks so much.
That's wild because I don't think anyone else in the world uses Yahoo for anything.
No. Yahoo Finance is just known because it's free stock quotes and easy to look at. It's the only thing that people use Yahoo for are for Yahoo Finance and for like fantasy sports pools. That's the only two things that they're good for. Everything else, nobody uses Yahoo.
That's why my email still exists. So I guess keep on.
There you go. There you go. Well, that takes us to the end, I guess. Hey.
Yeah, that's the episode. That's all of our voicemails. That's all of our
stories.
Issues. Keep on keeping on, everybody.
And we'll see if we can get another one, in the near future.
Yeah, well, hopefully the next 7 or 8 weeks.
Awesome.
Be a giant. Trust the forest. You can do it.
God bless.